Hello, I am Aerial Flight Advisor and we're playing Stellaris as some space turtles. This is going to be walkthrough-ish, not really a tutorial specifically, but I'll definitely be explaining stuff as I play. Now, for reference, I am playing not on Iron Man difficulty because I want to be able to save on my own terms for the recording purposes. Iron Man really isn't a difficulty either, it just means you can't save anything yourself, and it saves for you once every month, which counts up here in the top right. Now, before we even get started, a couple things I recommend you do before you unpause it, because it starts out paused. One is get your science ship, right click somewhere in the system and just survey the whole system, and you'll want to do that for everything around the area anyway. Next is check what kind of scientist you have. This guy has an experience gain boost, so that's okay for a science ship. Then you go to the actual researching here. You'll want to choose under society colony ships right away. Under here, I like to go administrative AI first because 5% will add up research speed wise. And here, same thing, go for the +5 minerals. Then I like to go here and check what traits my ruler has. In this case, this guy has cheaper buildings, which is great, and cheaper corvettes, which is the smallest starting ship type. So that'll be very useful. And I like to go to my policies tab and enable the encouraged free thought edict right away, because that will give me further science boosts. And let's have a look at the policies as well. We can leave war economy as is, basically this one. It'll give you better productivity if you're losing a defensive war, or less productivity if you're winning an offensive war. Slavery, these are going to be happy friendly turtles, so I won't have slavery, won't have purge. Light orbital bombardment, yeah, let's do that. Free migration, yes. Forcible resettlement, yeah, we'll leave that off for now. Free vote, haven't met anyone else yet. Now we're going to unpause, and I like to speed this up a bit. I'm going to put it on fastest so things keep moving for the purposes of this. Now let's see, we could use some more farms here. Now we've already got 2 farms here, and that's usually all you really need for a planet. But I like to try to stick with the tile yield, so I'm going to go with a mineral there. And yeah, I like to try to get all the anomalies that come up. That had a pretty bad success rate, so we'll see how that one goes. And I know I'm going to need energy pretty badly, so let's do the power plant. Let's see. And I already lost my science officer. And never saw that before. That's definitely a glitch. Let's pause that quick. Recruit another scientist. Yeah, there we go. Anomaly fail risk. -10%. Yeah, we'll go with you. Yes, survey system. Hopefully this is a good starting system. It's big, so that means there should hopefully be some planets with minerals and energy around them. I like something that gives research points too at the start, because any kind of boost you get there is great. Now this is just on normal difficulty, but even normal difficulty can be pretty tricky, especially if you're new to this. Oh yeah, I like what I'm seeing here. Get the construction ship, we'll get the minerals first. So the faster that ticks up, the more stuff I'll be able to build. While we're starting out here, I'm going to explain my faction choices and why. Space turtles, that's just because they're awesome. Faction, race, appearance, all that stuff is entirely cosmetic. These guys are a moral democracy though. This gives them a happiness boost. It does mean elections will occur every 5 years or so. And that basically just means that this leader is going to rotate around. I'm going to get different ruler traits. There are some government types which will have a ruler that only changes when the previous ruler dies, like say... Okay, so this is a starting quest where I can learn about a previous civilization. But as I was saying, There are some where the leaders only change every so often, like say longer election times or when the previous leader passes away. And it's entirely up to you which one you prefer, because in theory with the ones that rotate more quickly like this, if you get a leader with bad traits, you'll be able to vote them out in the next election. You might potentially, with say, a kingdom where you have a monarchy, if you get a good monarch, they're going to be there for decades.
Anomaly found.
One thing you might notice I'm doing is I'm not going down here to switch between the map and the systems. You can easily do that by just hitting E. And the Q is another useful hotkey because that'll allow you to focus on the specific ship or system that's selected. And some of the quest stuff is very interesting, but I'm going to read very little of it because there's a lot of it that comes up.
Research complete.
Basically what you'll want to do, let's see here, let's do iron thrusters so my ships move a bit faster at sublight. They do take a little bit of time to cross the system here. I am going to build a couple more corvettes because there are some events that come up early on where I will need more ships to clear path for either my science vessels or protect mining outposts and systems I don't have colonies in. And basically anything early on that's going to potentially increase your science output, go for it. You can also select your construction ship to do things from this screen. You just have to right click the star, and as long as you have enough minerals, you'll be able to do it. Going back to other factions or governments, so things I usually like to do would be either things that give bonuses to science or research in general, or things that would give me more core planets. Core planets, less of a big deal because you can expand that later on with a repeatable tech that you get in mid to late game. But it is good to have more core planets if you can get it, because while you can expand further and have separate sectors that control more planets for you, the sector AI is kind of dumb, so it's always better to have stuff that you can control. Though anything you add into a sector you can later take out for a small influence cost. That's this purple one up here.
System survey
as long as your empire can successfully manage it.
Research complete.
And when I say that, oh yeah, we're getting robots. Gotta have robots. When I say successfully manage, I mean when I hit this cap here, they'll let me go over it, but I start getting resource debuffs here. And I'd rather not. We're going to slow it down a bit actually, that's a little bit fast. Here's the election I was talking about though, so I believe this is the guy, no. Okay, this is the guy that's currently in. And looks like people are going to vote this one in. And I do like this, he gives me more influence, and he'll make my people even happier. So yeah, let's go for him. You'll notice too with factions that you can elect, you get little side quests that you can do, which will give an influence boost if you beat them. Now, in this case, Off-World Miner means I build mining stations around other planets, so he's nice and easy to do. And I have my colony ships here though. I'm gonna go for increased naval capacity. Oh, I have a dead scientist somewhere. Let's replace him with you. That gives it a research speed boost. Since I'm right on the edge of the galaxy, expanding is going to be kind of weird. I hope I don't have any neighbors that are too close. One quick and easy thing you can do in this view too is just hold down Alt. You can toggle it down here as well, but hold down Alt will allow you to see all the resources nearby, as well as colonizable planets. So I've got ocean worlds, 2 of them, that's good. So 2 easy to expand to places. Actually, I'm already at the minerals I need for colony ships, so I'll just do that, and I'll worry about construction ship later. other faction traits, you can have governing ethics here, which determine the government type that you can have. In this case, these guys are fanatic xenophiles. They love people. Now, it's not clear in-game, but what the xenophobia trait does is it makes your faction more or less appealing to other ones. So the fact that I'm friendlier means they like me more by default. This will make stuff like diplomacy way easier when I get to that point. And you get little choices here sometimes too, unrelated, but since it's here.
Situation
So,
updated.
you can choose to go down certain quest paths when you run into certain non-player aliens, I guess you could say. Then you can choose different ways, like, oh, you can research them peacefully, or you can just blow them up and then research what's left. I haven't met any of them yet, which is kind of weird. The other trait I have is these guys are pacifists. That gives them a food boost. It means I can have one more embassy than usual, meaning more people are going to be friendly with me. And I don't really expect to get into war too much, though I will have to later on, because not only are there some certain less friendly factions in the playing field, there are some late game crises. I'm not going to go into detail about that now because it is spoilerish, but around the time that one starts occurring, then I'll go into more detail about that and what the other ones are. I'm okay with energy, so let's do research station first there. Down here gives you some preset shortcuts to your planet, your first military fleet, science ship, and construction ship. So I usually will just use this to get to the planet, or just go up here too. But once my empire starts getting bigger, I start collapsing that, so I don't necessarily have access to that all the time. But it is much easier to use that. I did meet some aliens. Then, like, clicking on the planet, zooming in, and clicking on other things in the system there. So, yeah, here's what I was saying. There's some tough aliens. Generally, if they're tough like that, they stay put. So I'm not super duper worried. I just have to explore around them for now. So it starts out kind of slow. This game does have its slower points. But it is a much more grander scale sort of thing. Like, this is just a small galaxy. There's still 400 systems in here. And there is, starting out, 12 empires, including yourself. But then there's so many factions that can spawn out of those empires and create their own empires. There's pre-spaceflight civilizations that you can give the technology to achieve spaceflight. And there's even some species that you can uplift. So there's all sorts of stuff that's going on in this galaxy. This is where the term grand strategy really comes in. It's more exploration, more diplomatic. Somebody in one of my streams had a good point. It's very Star Trek-y with the exploration and getting to know other alien races and whether or not you're going to interfere with them. Anyway, you'll see that you can place your new colony anywhere as well. I'd recommend, since the colony base will give bonuses to the tiles around it for food, minerals, and energy, that you try to find an area where you can easily achieve that bonus. And you can remove all these things later on with certain techs like volcanoes. Yeah, you can just easily get rid of a volcano, because science. That was just saying it's cool that I have a new colony now. Do have to keep an eye out for other places I could potentially go, like, oh, a lot of planets in the air, but that's where the enemy is. I can still go here for now. Just a quick note for this, directly controlled planets is planets, not star systems, so if I was to say colonize this whole thing, this would count as 5 separate planets, so I'd really only want the one for now. The one that's an ocean planet, which is what my people are attuned to. Something else I can talk about for now. Certain traits that I gave to my space turtles, the Stellarpins, because they're not terrapins, they're in
System
space.
survey complete.
Now, first, let's get the science ship doing a thing. You can queue stuff up by holding shift, but I don't usually like to do that when surveying, especially early on in case there is a detour they have to make. Anyway, so they're slow breeders, because it's a turtle icon, and because I want to use a lot of robots and that gives me an excuse to do so. They are strong, so they gather more minerals and their armies do more damage, so in the event I am attacked, I'll be able to defend myself pretty easily. They are a natural physicist, so that gives them a boost to their physics output, one of the 3 different science types up there, and they're communal, so when they're crowded together, they're actually really happy about that, because they like their neighbors. They're going to be a very friendly bunch to be nearby. Let's... get the research station there, then I'll worry about energy. I am low on it now, but that's only because creating a colony takes a lot of it. And it'll thankfully tell you when that's going to complete, so not too much longer, a couple more months. What we got here? More planets? Continental would be a good tech to get once it's available. Here we go. Here's one of the proto-civilizations. It's probably... No, that's not there. Oh no, it must be here, yeah.
Research complete.
So, eventually this will become a planet, within a few hundred years eventually, I mean, which does occur in these games, have a potentially primitive civilization on there, which I can monitor and then uplift accordingly. Let's see. I'd like to get that so we can get destroyers pretty early. You'll notice that techs, they don't really have a tree. There's definitely a certain order that some techs will go in, like blue lasers will turn into... I think it's... trying to remember how this goes. Blue to ultraviolet to X-ray to gamma. Yeah. So you can't get X-ray lasers before you get blue lasers, for instance. But it will just present them to you at random. And there's certain techs and government types will give you more choices right off the bat.